The day I overcame my greatest fear, the long road to overcoming my phobia. For as long as I can remember, I've had an intense fear of heights. The mere thought of being up high, looking down from a tall building or cliff, would send my heart racing and palms sweating. It was a phobia that had always held me back, preventing me from fully experiencing and enjoying certain activities and life experiences. As a child, I remember being terrified during family trips to tall observation decks or skyscrapers. I would cling tightly to my parents, refusing to go near the edge or look out the windows. Even something as simple as a ladder or step stool would trigger my anxiety. My friends and family never fully understood the depth of my fear, often telling me to just get over it, or it's not that bad. But the truth is, a true phobia is not something that can be willed away so easily. Throughout my teenage and young adult years, I continued to avoid situations involving heights, missing out on opportunities to travel, hike, or even visit certain attractions. The fear had become so deeply ingrained that the mere idea of being in a high place would send me into a panic. I knew that this debilitating phobia was preventing me from living life to the fullest, but I felt powerless to overcome it. The catalyst for change. It wasn't until a few years ago that I finally decided to confront my fear head-on. I had been invited to join a group of friends on a hiking trip in the mountains, and they were determined to convince me to come along. At first, I made every excuse I could think of to get out of it. But after much persistence from my friends, and a realization that I needed to stop letting this fear control my life, I reluctantly agreed to go. The day of the hike, I was a bundle of nerves. As we set out on the trail, the path quickly began to climb, winding up the side of the mountain. With each step, my anxiety grew, and I found myself lagging behind the group, desperate to turn back. But my friends refused to let me give up, encouraging me and reminding me that I could do this. When we finally reached the summit, I was shaking with fear. The view was breathtaking, with sweeping vistas of the surrounding peaks and valleys. But all I could focus on was the dizzying height and the long way down. My friends could see the terror in my eyes, and they gently urged me to take a few steps closer to the edge, assuring me that I was safe. Facing my fear head-on in that moment, I knew I had to make a choice. I could either let my fear consume me and miss out on this incredible experience, or I could muster up every ounce of courage I had and confront it. With a deep breath, I took a step forward, peering over the edge. My heart was pounding, my palms were sweaty, and my legs felt like jelly. But as I stood there, taking in the breathtaking view, something remarkable happened. The panic and terror that had always overwhelmed me in high places started to fade. Instead of feeling like I was in danger, I felt a sense of awe and wonder. The world below me seemed so small and insignificant, yet incredibly beautiful. The fear that had controlled me for so long suddenly felt like a distant memory, replaced by a feeling of empowerment and accomplishment that I'm not sure how long I stood there, taking in the view, but it felt like time had stood still. My friends, sensing the shift in my demeanor, quietly stepped back, giving me the space I needed to fully confront and conquer my fear. And when I finally turned to them, beaming with pride, they erupted in cheers and congratulations. The transformative power of overcoming fear that day on the mountain was a turning point for me. It was the moment I realized that I had the power to overcome even my deepest, most deeply rooted fears. The sense of achievement and self-confidence I felt was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. It was as if a weight had been lifted from my shoulders, and I was finally free to live my life without the constant burden of this debilitating phobia. In the years since that fateful hike, I've continued to challenge myself and push the boundaries of my comfort zone. I've traveled to new places, hiked higher peaks, and even gone skydiving, something I never would have imagined doing before. And each time, I've been met with a sense of exhilaration and pride, rather than the paralyzing fear that used to consume me, but the true transformation has been an internal one. No longer do I see my fears as insurmountable obstacles, but rather as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. I've learned that by facing our fears head-on, we can unlock a level of personal strength and resilience that we never knew we possessed. Lessons learned and advice for others. Looking back, I realized that overcoming my fear of heights was not just about conquering a specific phobia, but about learning to trust in myself and my own capabilities. It was about recognizing that the only thing holding me back was my own self-doubt and limiting beliefs. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that fear is a powerful force, but it's not an unbeatable one. It takes courage, determination, and a willingness to step outside of our comfort zones, but it is possible to overcome even our deepest fears. For anyone else struggling with a similar phobia or fear, I would offer the following advice. Acknowledge and validate your fear. Don't try to brush it aside or minimize it. Recognize that your fear is real and understandable, and that there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. Develop a plan of action, break down your fear into manageable steps, and create a plan for how you'll confront it. This could involve gradually exposing yourself to the source of your fear, or seeking the support of a therapist or support group. Surround yourself with a strong support system. Enlist the help of friends, family, or a therapist who can encourage and support you as you work to overcome your fear. Having a strong support system can make all the difference. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Every step you take towards conquering your fear is a victory, so be sure to acknowledge and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Overcoming a deep-seated fear can be a challenging and emotional process. Don't be afraid to reach out for professional help or guidance if you need it. Ultimately, the journey of overcoming my fear of heights has taught me that the power to conquer our fears lies within us. By facing our fears head-on and refusing to be defined by them, we can unlock a level of personal growth and fulfillment that is truly transformative.